another episode of the Dalton Grant Academy Talk Show. My name is Dalton Grant, a three-time Olympian, former board director of London 2012 Big Team. Each week, me and my guests explore the mindset, determination, and focus it takes to become an elite. Gain the insight to the world of sports, film, and more.
You've only got one shot. Make it count.
Hi everyone, haven't I got a great guest for you today? He's a former football player. He played for England, also Liverpool, a legend for country and club, none other than Emile Heskey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Dalton.
Yo, it's a pleasure. Thank you for accepting. So many years of football at a high level, and it's amazing. So I'd like to go into this interview straight away, just to find out, a bit about Emile when you was growing up. Just give it insight to, your youth. Did you always do football? Did you do any other sports?
Yeah, look, growing up of Caribbean background, cricket was a major part of my upbringing. But I actually loved athletics, like the likes of yourself, Linford, John Regis, people like that, who I looked up to and wanted to aspire to be honest with you. And it wasn't until, I played football as well, but I actually focused more on athletics. And then obviously, the thing with athletics, I found that you can't just go and do it with your friends. It's more of a structured environment. Yeah. Whereas football, you could just go with your friends on the park. You can play it wherever you want. You find a bit of grass. Nowadays, it says no ball games. We never had no ball games. Ball games were everywhere. Yeah. So we could play it everywhere, and it just took over from there. But my actual first love was athletics. My dad would have loved me to have played cricket though.
Well, first up, so was you a bowler or a batsman?
Bit of both, to be honest with you. But I wasn't great at. I wasn't great at it. Again, it was one of those ones when you're batting and bowling, you're all right, you're happy. But when you stood out in the field, you're like, what am I doing this game? What am I doing this sport for?
Wow. So let's go back to football in the earlier days when you got signed. So give us an insight. What was it like, when you got your first contract?
Well, I came through from the age of 9, and you slowly start to. Back then it was called Centre of Excellence. You go there Tuesday, Thursday, training, playing games on the weekend, and you slowly start the squad slowly starts to get shrunken, smaller and smaller. Then you get to specific numbers. I managed to get to 15 and stroke 16, and I was playing with the 18s. And I was holding my own because, again, where I'm from, you play with the bigger kids. So you have to hold your own, or they tell you, don't come back. And that was part of my upbringing anyway. So by the age of 12, 13, I was playing with 18-year-olds. So me being 14, 15, 16, playing with 18-year-olds was nothing. I went.
Yeah. So do you think there's a difference now in the development of the youth now? You're saying that, because of health and safety, that they can't play with the older guys?
Yeah, I think your growth, I wouldn't say it gets stunted, but you don't have that massive growth within you anymore, because you get kind of eased along the path, whereas a lot of the time we were thrown in the deep end. You go and play with your brother's friends, and they're all 2-3 years older than you. You're like, well, you either play with them or you whinge and they kick you off the pitch. So you've got to really start manning, like they say, man up. Man up, yeah. And have a go. And I was like that. We had We had to be like that, and it was in an unstructured environment anyway, so it was great.
I understand about that because when I was young, we used to play in Downs Park, and we used to have 30 aside, and
There
that
you
was
go.
like going in the deep end.
There you go. So yeah, and then I joined. I went from 15. I went with the under 18s, and everything just spiraled out of control from there. Really, when I say out of control, it just went upwards. I scored two on my debut. We won 3-2, and then I was playing with the under 18s from since then, and then came back to pre-season 16, and I made what I call my first team debut. It was a pre-season game, but they don't count pre-season games as official games. So I actually played in a pre-season game for the first team at 16. And then and obviously I made my actual debut the following year when I was 17.
Right. So what about your family setup? Did you have that support? Did they follow you to training? Did they take you around, to matches? How was your...
If I'm honest, no. Yes, I did have the support in the sense of they were there backing me and pushing me to do it, but they didn't have the money that we know parents have now, and they couldn't get me to train because my mum actually didn't drive until I'd been professional for a few years. I used to have to jump on buses. I had to get to training every day. I had to jump on 2 buses. Well, Tuesday, Thursday, I had to jump on 2 buses, one into the town centre, one from the town centre out to where I need to get, and then back again. And you look at it now, and I was okay with it, to be honest with you. But I look at it now. Would I let my child do that at 13, 14, 15? Probably not. Not with it. I would, but we have tracking. We got their phones, and their phones. We can track them everywhere they're going, kind of thing. Whereas I had no mobile phone back then, for no one to track me. They just knew that I was coming home.
Yeah. It seems like the parents now are Secret Service, undercover.
Exactly. So, but nice. It was great that sort of independence that I had as well to try and get on the bus and get to where I needed to get to. So I had to do that. I had to do that at 16 as well with the England under 16. I had to get to Stafford. So you have to get on the train and get to Stafford and then get a taxi from the train station to the facility where you go. Yeah,
because I think sometimes it is hard for the youth now because they can't go out there and express and learn for themselves. Because, I mean, if our parents knew what we were up to when we were younger, climbing trees, playing knockdown. But that's how you learn, and you had friends. So did you have any role models in football? I mean, you said in athletics as well, but inspired you in the game. How did you progress? Did you look up to anyone? Who did you learn your style of play from, or was you just creative with your...
I was creative because you watch so many different players. So through my dad's era, you watch Pele and people like that. My era was Maradona. Then you're looking at John Barnes because you want to mimic. I'm mimicking John Barnes. I'm right-footed. I'm mimicking John Barnes trying to play with my left foot. But it helped because you're working on your left foot. I didn't know back then. I just wanted to be like him. Then you got Ian Wright, you got your Andy Coles, you got people like that you readily can relate to because they look like you and they're doing what you want to go and do. So these are the people that I aspired to be like. I never really wanted to. I take little bits from everyone. I didn't want to say, I want to specifically play like him. I just took little bits from everyone. I'm a totally different person. And I knew that from early. So I would take little bits from them and add that in, take little bits from them and add that in. I was very good. I'm a big lad, so I was good at holding the ball up. I want to be able to turn. I want to be able to run. I want to be able to sprint. I want to be able to take people on. So I would take that. Stan Collymore, I'd take little bits from him as well.
Wow.
So people like that, you just take little bits from.
So it's great that you're saying taking little bits, and that's what you need to do. Proven people who's been there and done it. So did you have any personal challenges with your size or your colour? And how did you overcome that?
No, size, no, not really. Because if I'm honest with you, because of the way that I moved, they might pigeonhole you and say, yeah, play like this. But because of the way they moved, they just left me to do what I wanted to do. So in general, when I first came through, I was running channels. I was picking ball up, taking people on and running with it. And they just left me to do it because they said, well, we're not going to take that out of him because he's very good at that. So I was left to do that. And then with my collar, I've even sat down with family friends who I left a particular area, which we call the inner city black area, and I moved just on the outskirts. So I went to a predominantly white school. There's like four black people in the school, and I had fields, I had athletics track, I had a swimming pool, I had everything there. Now, if I'd have stayed in the predominantly black area, I don't know if I'd have had the same facilities. I don't know if I'd had the same chances. So, in essence, what I'm saying is, I don't know what it would have been like if I'd have stayed there. Would I have gone to where I was now? Don't know.
So, what would you give, say to these young up and coming players, black players? Mm-hmm. How would they handle racism and so forth now?
Well, the thing is, there's a lot more procedures in place than when we were growing up. Suck it up was one of the things that you were told as a black kid doing any sport. Suck it up. So what? Get on with it. Blah blah. And even just walking down the street, there was two options walking down the street, and you'll know this, Dalton, obviously. Two options: fight or run. They're the two options. There's no telling police. There's no even telling your parents or anything like that. It's fight or run. They're the two options. Nowadays, you got a lot more options. You can lodge a complaint. You can do a lot of things. Even when you're talking about on the pitch, you can walk off the pitch. If we walked off the pitch when we were racially abused, then it's on us. We're the troublemakers.
Yeah.
Even though we're the victims, we're the troublemakers. So they've got a lot more procedures now. So I would say report it, and I would say follow up as well, because certain things have to be done now. We've got so many procedures in place that things have to be done. And if you keep following up and they're not doing anything, then then there's trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I have to commend you because the way you conduct yourself. I mean, I've interviewed John Barnes as well, the likes of Gilberto Silva, and it's just what I look at. There's a few of us, the way we conduct ourselves through the struggles, what we've been going through in adversity, to be stand-up men now in life and being role models. And I think people should look up to the likes of you and listen to you, because there's a lot of people who are out there now who like to listen to people who's come from the classroom. I don't know anyone who's got a degree and played in the Premiership. I mean, purely just to play football. It's all about, having the ability to make the grade physically and how you conduct yourself. So I would like to say, is there anything different that you can give information to players on a whole, and how that players from all different races can come together and unify and share, how they have that insight as a team, that, you support a team if it's defensively or attacking, also support one another when it comes down to...
The thing is, if players all came together and understood their knowledge and wealth, talking about wealth, knowledge, is powerful. I don't think they really know. I think a lot of the time they underestimate how much they actually know and how powerful they are. I think they've got a lot more to give back as an ex-players, to give back to the game, to help the younger ones to establish themselves and help them drive them forward. Because again, the actual fallout rate of football is quite high. It doesn't need to be that high. We have so many different leagues. We have so many different countries that play football. So the fallout rate should not be that high. So I just think that we as ex-players have got a lot to give back to the younger generation, to help them structure the way they're going forward. And they have a lot to give back in next generation for football in the higher echelons.
Do you think they're being used? Because let's be honest, the sports change, different training. You got to be an athlete to play football now. Lucky you was ahead of the game because you was an athlete first. So do you think the coaches are up to scratch, or do you think it's the players? Where do you think we're lacking? Is it the players ain't listening? They're not prepared to work hard enough, or few are? Because give me your insight. What do you think?
You will always get some that will work harder than others. That's just natural.
Yeah.
Generally, it's the hard-headed ones are the ones that with the pure natural ability. They're the hard-headed ones. But you could always point to the fact that Ronaldo was naturally gifted, but he took it to another level with his drive to be the best, to work harder than others every single day, not just Saturday, every single day to get to that stage. And I even say this to people when I'm coaching. The game's easy. It's the training part that you've got to you've got to do everything in the training part to make that game easy. You've got to do it, or you're not. You think you can switch it on and switch it off. There's someone else who's 10 times fitter than you with half your ability, and he'll run all over you.
Yeah,
run all over you. Now you've got to put that work in to get to where you want to get to, and more.
Definitely.
So
work ethic and a strong mindset. So, yeah. What would you say? How did you handle tough situations when things were going, hard times for you? Really, virtually that.
Look, I think my upbringing as well, the era that we were raised in, you had to be tough. You had to be tough mentally anyway, because again, you're going down the street, you don't know what's going to happen. So mentally, you're aware of things, that your surroundings and everything, and you have to be tough. How did I get through dark times? Is, you know what? The funny thing is music and comedy. Music, because you can get into any mood you want with music.
Come on, let's tell me now. All right, music. What genre? Let's go for it. Come on.
Any, mate. Any. R&B is my R&B is my go-to. Beyonce, D'Angelo, people like that. Just to chill you down and just relax you as well. But then when you want hip hop and all that, and you want to get going for a game, and you just bang a bit of hip hop, reggae, raga, anything. Music can just get you going in different moods and just mellow you out or get you hype. And then comedy, at times you're just sitting there and you're in the mood, you just bang on a comedy. I used to love Def Jam. Huh?
Okay, was it Richard Pryor I was going to say?
Def Jam comedy I loved. Def Jam comedy. Obviously, Bernie Mac's passed away, but Bernie Mac was one of my favourite. Kings of Comedy, with Bernie Mac, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Cedric the Entertainer. That was just so funny.
Did you take any tips? Did you have that kind of banter, that quick wittiness when you was in football?
Look, you've got to have that within football. Football is quick banter, witty. Football, you've got to be on your toes all the time. It's fun. It's just fun being in and around that environment. Yeah,
wow. So, what's the fondest moments of your football career, would you say?
Fondest moments were obviously making my debut. It was funny, my debut. So I was 17. I only just turned 17. My debut was in March. I turned 17 in January. So I was traveling with the team. But I was like helping out, making teas and stuff like that, putting out the kit. That night, we were playing QPR away. That night, about 3 or 4 players went down sick. Okay. I was the only other available striker. So manager, he did it well, because when I think back, if I'd had more time to think about the game, it would have just been too stressful. So just before the game, he just revealed the team. Literally an hour before the game, he revealed the team, and I'm playing up front. So yeah, a 17-year-old lad. But no, it was just that is a great memory of mine. And then obviously representing the national team, and it's the one that everyone remembers, is the 5-1 in Germany. So it's an iconic game. That, like I said, everyone who comes up to me, that's the game they talk about.
So what is the toughest team you ever played against? Was it internationally and for club?
Toughest team I played against, probably Italy, internationally.
Why would you say that?
So structured and organised.
Okay.
Yeah, they and ruthless. They don't mind kicking. They do everything in a set patterns and everything's regimented. Right. Kick you, pull you down, pull your shirt. And then I'll say team-wise, I'd say again Roma. I remember turning I think it was ball to Samuel, turning him, got the ball coming, turning him. He's just grabbed my shorts and pulled them down. I had my shorts down by my ankles, but he just wouldn't let me go. And these are the sort of things that you know, certain teams, they're that ruthless in the way that they defend. They'll do anything.
So is there any moment at any time that you could have lost it and you switched off because you always carried yourself cool, calm and collected?
Look, there's plenty of times. It's funny because still in Petrov reminded me, I was at Aston Villa and playing against Wigan. And a guy kept coming in the back of me, elbow, in the back of head, elbow. And in the end, I just lost it. And then I don't think I got sent off. I think I just left, came off at half time and the manager pulled me off.
Yeah. So what was was you a player that had to screw down your opponent or the other players, or was you just a person that's got into yourself? Did you support any other players around you? Because obviously as a team, did you have to?
Look, a lot of the time I'm quite a quiet lad. So a lot of the time it was why I didn't lead by being vocal, led by what I did on the pitch.
Right.
Yeah. Now, Dalton, if I'm seeing you're having a bad time, I'm coming over and helping you. If that guy's getting the better of you, I'm coming over and smashing that guy for you. So I would lead by that way. I didn't really need to. You got some people like, oh, man, screaming and all that. It just wasn't me. But when I go out there, you know that you've got an ally in you who's going to do what you want me to do.
Brilliant. So how would you say that your sport or your career has molded you as a person?
To be fair, resilient. But I had all. You say how the sport molded me. I molded around the sport. To be honest, I had all this in me already.
Right.
Yeah, I had the resilience. I had the tenacity. I had the ability. I had the will, the drive to do what I needed to do to get a task done. And this is where, you know, like you come out of sport, you've had to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to do your jogs and to do your stuff. You've had to go and make sure you get here on time. You've got to make sure you get there on time. And this is where a lot of people within different industries miss a trick with sports people. We've been programmed as such to do certain things a certain way. So in essence, I take you on as you're an athlete, and I take you on as an apprentice or something within my job, and I tell you to do X, Y, and Z. You come back to me having done X, Y, and Z, and go, there you go. What's next?
Yes.
Because that's the way you've been programmed for 30 years.
You know what? I totally agree with you, and that's what I don't understand when they ask if you have a patient to be a coach. Because former athletes, like you said, we've been trained to execute, and obviously, if we've had a great career, it clearly tells you we can execute under pressure and listen very well, because you won't get to the top and have a long career like what you have if you didn't listen. Yeah. So, do you feel that you can be a manager and you're mature enough now, and with what you learned being out of the game, looking from outside in now?
If I'm honest with you, I'd have to go down the coaching role first, to then see whether it's for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of coaching now and I'm enjoying it. Now, on a consistent basis, it's totally different to what you're used to being on the other side of it. I've got to deal with 20 to 30 different personalities and get the best out of all of you, and mold you all together to get the best out of yourselves within that. And that's on me, not on you. As the manager, that's on me to get that and possibly pull you out, Dalton, because you don't fit in there, and then put someone else in.
Wow. Yeah. Sleepless nights, it sounds like.
Well, it's organisation is getting the best out of you, because again, I don't even know what makes you tick. I need to know what makes you tick. Yeah,
definitely. So if you went back in time, is there anything that you would do different?
No. The only thing I say, like when people ask me these sort of things, is I tell a lie. Yes, there would be a few things. Diet would be a huge thing, because again, diet's got views. We're doing it in athletics for years, but we've only really just started getting onto this for the last 10, 15 years. We have been doing it for years in athletics. We haven't. But that would be the stuff that I would have done at the beginning of my career. you know, and possibly taking the weights side of things a bit more serious.
Yeah.
Not just doing bench press and what's that?
Yeah.
No.
Don't run with your hands. And plus, bench press is a pushing. You probably need to incline that you pull someone.
Yes,
that's what you're going to do.
Because I'm going to be holding people off. I'm going to be pushing them off like this.
That's right.
I'm going like this all the time. No, yeah. I think that would be that sort of stuff. Only other thing is I say usually is I left when I left Liverpool. They won the Champions League, and I still had a year left on my contract, so I could have stayed and won the Champions League.
Oh, okay. Well then, great. So I'm going to ask 3 questions that I would like you to answer, short and quick, please.
Okay.
Someone who's young, you know, upcoming grassroots football, give me something that can encourage them, inspire them.
Wow. Be authentic to yourself. Work hard. Well, not even work hard. Work harder than anyone else. And have a focus on what you actually want to achieve and have a plan.
Right. Someone at the age of 18 now, breaking into the season, you know, into the senior team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's obviously at 18 is young, and you're going against world-class players, because once you're in development is development. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're ready to go into a world-class setup, because these are seasoned pros. So what would you give to them?
What I look at when I see young lads when they're wanting to get into the first team, I say, well, who's in front of you? So and so is in front of you. What is he doing that you're not? Well, he does this. Oh, well, then go and do that more than him in your own games and work on it even more, because then you know whatever extra you have will shine above him.
Right. And what advice would you give a seasoned pro who's, you know, maybe have a last few years left and, you know, might want 2 more years left and preparing to kind of have life after sport? What would you give back?
Two things. You have a massive role to play for these young lads coming through. Be that right mentor for them. And then the other side is prepare for your second career. Make sure you've prepared for your second career and understand what it looks like. Whether it be in football, outside of football, in whatever, higher up, media, whatever it is, make sure you've prepared for that and you know what it looks like.
I'm going to be tough on you for this one.
Go on. You
had a magic wand, 1 wish. What would you do? Any wish you want.
I'm cool with that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm cool. You know what? Let's say, have my career again.
Wow. Hey, what a way. Emile, it's been a pleasure. And thank you so much for coming to the show. And, you know, I hope that you have a great career and you achieve all the things that you'd like to achieve after sport.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You've only got 1 shot. Make it count.